We have a package. Oh, and it's already been cut. Okay. Look at the package, and it's big and really heavy. And I think I know what's in it. Chocolate cookies. That's what it says. Okay, so let's find out. So I have a box. It is half the size. It literally only goes to here. And I keep my brushes. Oh, it's also not as long. I keep my brushes in this other box, and I wanted a bigger box. So I asked my mother-in-law if she could find it. I knew exactly where to get it. So of course she filled it with chocolate. Oh, and a lot more chocolate too. Wow. That's awesome. So this is the box that I have been using, and I bought this back in Germany from Brosner. I have no idea where you guys can get it, so this is not really a haul video or anything like that, but I just wanted to show you how I'm dealing with these brushes. This is kind of behind the scene, you know. It's kind of fun to see what's going on. Yeah, so it doesn't close. That's a problem. So I think I want to turn this into a paint box. So but that's really not about that right now. I'll put my all my tubes in here because this might be big enough for my paint tubes. Maybe it won't be, I don't know. So for now, let's take all these out. So I'm going to go through them, show you what I've got brush wise, and we'll see if they fit in the new box. These are some of my more fancy-wancy brushes. This is a Da Vinci 8 Series 803. This is a mop brush. This is the Cosmo Top Spin. I believe these are synthetic, and I have the entire range, although they might not all be in here, but those are two. This is the Dagger, which still has, when I put them away, I always put gum arabic in them, so that even if they bounce around, they'll be okay. So that's also the synthetics. I do own a few synthetic brushes. This one is also a synthetic brush. This is the Vario Top. These ones are fun to use. They do really dry brushing really well, and I have a bunch of them, although they're not all in here. So yeah, these are all synthetic, this whole section. And here's another, oops, here's another Vario Top. So the main hairs go here, but then there's these little white hairs on the end, which makes it really fun if you're doing dry brushing, because you can pick up a little bit, and these extra orange hairs will keep the white ones apart. So you just naturally have that dry brush technique. It's really an awesome kind of brush. And these are from Da Vinci as well. These are Brosner, Da Vinci. Brosner is the huge art store in Europe. I think it's the largest art store in Europe. Now this one, of course, it doesn't have the name on it, but it's Da Vinci Series 5519. Can you tell how they're two tones? So the main part of the body brush goes here, and it ends. And then it's got this extra tip up here. So this part will hold water and paint, but it still gives you a very fine tip. And the best part is that it's got a really thick handle. This is the Rosemary & Co. Triangle Brush size 40. This is the second one. I had two. Originally I purchased these, and then I got 3 more. And this is the Series 40, but it's before they had 3 sizes. So originally it was the only size that they had, and then they came out, and see how it's a triangle? And the point is always to the back of one of these corners, so it slopes. So they've essentially taken a pointy brush but then carved out one corner to give you this really beautiful point, which is so sharp and wonderful. But because you've got all this body, this extra body here, you can hold a lot more paint and a lot more water than normal, but you still have this great point. So I love these brushes, which is why I use them all the time. They're definitely my go-tos. This is another little brush. This is a Brosner brush. It's from their Brosner series, and this one is the house brand. It's a 20-0, and it's Series 318. Now the fun thing about this brush, and this is going to be hard to show you, is that it's kind of a rigger brush, but it's got a fat handle. Look at that. It's a mop or a cat's tongue, which is also what this is. This is a mop, but you can also find it under cat's tongue, and I don't really know why we call it a cat's tongue, except maybe that's kind of what it looks like shape-wise, but that's what this is. They're very fat, kind of like a makeup brush. So these are the brushes I have in here. It's important that I always have them going all the same direction, so when I do close it and stand it up, I know that this is the top. So let's just quickly run through these ones. Actually, they're not all the Maestros. There's also these. There we go. Okay, so again, when I left, I went ahead and purchased enough brushes that would kind of last me for eternity. These ones are all size 9 and size 10, which means they're way up there. There's an 8, a 9, 2 10s, and another 8. And then these guys are also, this is part of the set, the same set, and I think I did an unboxing, but I haven't used them yet. This is the same set that this one came from, the one that's falling apart, so I'm a little reluctant to even use them at all, but I'll have to see. These also were not cheap. None of these are cheap, really. Okay, and then these are the tiny ones. Got 2 riggers. We've got a size, like I said, it's all the Master series, so the number's the same. So size 2 times 2, we've got, no, 3 2s, 10 0, a 5 0, and 2 riggers in the middle. And then I have more of these. Yeah. Well, you know, you paint all the time, you end up with lots of brushes. So this again is one of these, this is the monster huge one. This is a Petite Grise Pure, it's size 6 and it's series 418. Then I've got a few more triangle brushes because you always need lots and lots and lots of triangle brushes if you absolutely love triangle brushes. This is a series 1150. This is also a rigger brush. It's longer than the other ones and it's considerably larger. Those were, what did we say those sizes were? They were really small, 2 or 4 or something. Otherwise, this is a 12. I have a whole series of flats because you always need flats. Let me pull them out. So we've got size 14, size 12, size 10, which is still in its original packaging, which is why it looks so small. Then we've got size 9, and last one is a size 6. So this is another rigger. That's a size 6 as well, rigger. With the big ones. These are the Maestro Kolinsky series 10 is the 9 and series 35 is the 6. And we've got the tiny flats. These are also 1301s. I'll do them here so you guys can see them. And these are sizes 2, 4, 6, and 8, and they match up with this one going all the way up to size 14. So there's a whole bunch I just showed you that are in the middle. So I don't buy clothes. You know, I'm not big on jewelry. I don't think I own any jewelry at all, and I'm not even a wedding ring, funny enough. And I'm not big on clothes. Don't have a huge shoe collection. No, but brushes and art supplies. That's where my money goes. So this one and this one are 6s. These are the sizes I use the most, which would explain why I have so many. And that's a 4. Okay, so then this is 4 extra 6s, because you always need extras. And this is 6 extra 4s. These are all Maestro, Kolinsky, and they are all series 10. So those are those. Additionally to that, we have these ones. Now, these little gray ones are very cheap. I believe they're $2 or $3 each. That's an entire series, and they're called the Zen. Where'd my little paper go? Okay, so here is a mop brush. This is a 1-inch mop round, and this is a 1-inch flat. This is a eraser. It's nice and firm at the end, and I have 2. And they do work. Now, the one from Rosemary is better. It's softer. This one is quite soft, but this one is very hard. So I wouldn't use that one unless I was working on really, really strong paper. And even then, I would try not to erase things. This is number 2, little number 2 flat, rounded out. This is a mop. This is a large mop. It doesn't actually have a number. It just says large. And if you, again, notice, this would be like your cat tongue, and this would be your mop brush, or you could actually call it a mop too. It depends who you're talking to. This is a sword brush, sometimes referred to as riggers, but really they're swords or daggers. And then this is a flat as well. This is a size 4 flat. So those are the cheap brushes. Now, when I say cheap, I don't mean that I would just let my nibblings, my nieces and nephews, play with them. They're still good brushes. They're all synthetic, and I like using them occasionally. They're not really my go-to brushes, but I do occasionally play with them. So we shall plop them there. And I have a little piece of stick here in the middle to make sure that when this folds over, it doesn't go down too far. Now, in here, we have another triangle brush. We have a smaller version of this series, which is the 5519. This is size 5. I think the other one was size 8 or 9. And again, can you tell that this is the main brush body? Do it here. That's where the brush actually ends, and then you have this little piece at the end, and this is so much fun to work with. I should probably do a video on that. These brushes are from the dollar store. This is where you get 10 brushes for $1. If I'm doing masking fluid, if I need to mix my colors, then I will use the really, really cheap brushes. Like I said, like 5 or even 10 for $1. They're about 10 cents each for these guys. They're complete synthetic. They're completely plastic, not good, crappy brushes. But they're useful for all the things that you don't want to use a good brush for. This is another one of these calligraphy brushes. You can kind of make it out how in the center they're a little, there's thick up to here, and then it's thin on the top. So again, it's good for dry brushing. Then in here we've got a few. This is the Browser House brush at size 4. It's also fun to use if I'm just using it for quick tutorials on YouTube. It doesn't need to be super awesome. But it's a pretty good brush, so I have a bunch, and they're way cheaper, way cheaper. Like these cost a few bucks versus the other ones you're up in the 10, 15, 20 or into the hundreds per brush. And then these are actually quite expensive. This is the Maestro Series 2 and the Maestro, size 2, size 1, Series 35, and Series 10. So those are the Kalinskis. These are the best ones, but these are the ones I'm currently using. Right? So that's why they're in here as far as fancy brushes go. Then these are also Da Vinci brushes. These are, again, size 2 and 4, which are quite similar, although actually they're a little bigger. This one doesn't actually have a series. Actually, a lot of Da Vinci's brushes are color-coded. So the green ones and the orange ones are synthetic. The blue ones are squirrel. The black ones are sable. This is from Rosemary. It's also a sable. Then these are all synthetic at the end, for example. So these are the Nova Synthetics. And again, this is size 14, 8, and 50, or 5 past 0. So this is my second go-to kit for grabbing my brushes. My actual kit for grabbing my brushes that I do take with me when I really want to leave the house is this one. So we have the Radicator from Rosemary, which is quite soft and really does work. Then we've got some really tiny ones here. I don't use these often at all. This is a 10-0, super tiny. This is a rigger, and this is part of this really cheap set, so $2 each set. So I've got 3 of them in here. And you can see the point isn't that good, but that's the whole point. The whole point of this is to have brushes that if I need to possibly mess up the points, I'm okay doing that I'm not doing that with my really good ones. So it helps kind of balance everything out. So these again are the Zen brushes. This is size 6, size 14, and a 1/2 inch flat. Then we've got the Da Vinci Blue brush. This again is size 6, which is different from over here. So that would be part of this set, and I do have the whole set somewhere else. I have more brushes somewhere else. I have to go find them and bring them over here. Then way down here we've got a little red one. It's hard to get out. Okay, and this little red one goes with this little red one. And if you just hold on for 1 second. Okay, so in this little box, which is another little brush box, and I have a little thing that says brushes and up, so I know. So in here we have a few more. So these red ones are part of this series. And here I've got a whole bunch of tiny ones, a size 4, another size 4, a size 1, and a 2-0. And then these are the size 1 out as well. These are all Meranio, and then these are the backups to this one. These are pretty much the same. 2 zeros, 0, 0, a 00, and a 0, 10, I think. Maybe. I'm not sure. It's wearing off. And I have a tiny little case, which is a hard case. If I was going to paint in the car, then this is what I would grab. It has a pencil, 2 pencils, it has a mixer brush, and then a bunch of these itty bitties. And this little one on the side is super tiny. This is a Da Vinci Blue and it's size 0, and it is totally messed up, but I haven't, this is where I really put my messed up brushes too, but I won't get rid of it because it's good for doing different techniques. Like if I want to create some weird effect or a weird design, I can easily add this to paint and then use it. So that's what that is, and these are going to stay here, and a little sponge, because it's always good to have a sponge. Okay, so this is my favorite brush. This is my absolute go-to all the time. I even use this, I think, more than I use my triangle brush. It's just, or this triangle brush, this is the smaller version, this is the medium version, and then over in the big box down there is the really, really big one. So there's 5 of them, I think. I'm not sure. I'll have to see. There's more over here. We'll get that in a second. But this is my favorite brush. It is size 4 Da Vinci Piet Grease Pure, and it's a series 418. So that is, you've seen that everywhere. I use that all the time. Then we've got a synthetic triangle. This one's okay. I try not to use it anymore in the tutorials because it's really hard to get a hold of, and it's actually part of a set. So it's this one, and I think there's 6 of them or something, or 5 of them. And then the whole set is about 60 euros for these 5 brushes. But these are from Aniki. These are the same. These are the triangle brushes I absolutely love before I got the new ones. So I had mentioned this huge flat from Artisti. These are also from Artisti, and they are the larger sizes. This one is from Da Vinci. It is a synthetic, and it's size 4. It really has a terrible snap. Like it's very snappy, so I don't like it at all. And I almost never ever use it. In fact, my husband keeps asking me if I have a brush he can use to do some varnishing, so I might end up giving him that one because it's kind of terrible. You'll probably never ever see me use it. You can tell here, see how soft this is? And see how flicky this is? It even makes a sound. Not that you can hear it because I always remove the sounds, extra sounds. So yeah, so these would be the ones that I would also give to the kids. And I used to have a few more, but I think I gave them to my niece. Okay, and then continuing through, we've got another one of these cheap ones. And this is also a synthetic. This synthetic one matches this one that I just said I absolutely hate. This is the smaller version of that. So I have a few. Unfortunately, don't actually need those at all. And then we've got some more. We've got the red ones. We've got a little blue one. These are more red ones. You can tell that I've used these a million times. This is a smaller version for that. There's the triangle. This is size 4, I believe. Yes, this is size 4 Da Vinci Maestro brush. Then we've got the 6 blue. Which is a squirrel brush, and then we've got a few more cheap ones. This cheap one, then the rosemary, which is not a cheap one, and this little one is also a Maestro. It is 10-0. So those are the brushes that I take with me. Of course, now I've taken a few out, but these would be my go-tos. So they stay on my desk most of the time, and then once I've used them up, they'll get switched out with something else. And if I was going to go on a trip, then I would take this pack and this pack, which would be full because they're looking a little empty at the moment. I just took a bunch out of it. There we go. Yeah, if you guys like any of these, just in the comments write the time that I mentioned it, and then I can do an actual brush review of that brush for you. Specifically, I'll try to figure out where you can buy it, and if anybody has it over here, and then I'll do a review for you. And then I'm pretty sure this is the end now. In this little thing, I have a few more brushes. These are from Rosemary & Co. And these are Kolinsky Sable Series 22 Rosemary & Co. This is the Pure Sable Series 90. It is a rigger brush. See how pointed that is? It's about that long. This one is also the same length. This one is also quite long. This is size 2, Pure Sable Series 88. But it is also a rigger brush. And then this one is really cool. This one's very fun, and I haven't really started using it. This is Series 91. It's a Rosemary & Co. size 2 Pure Sable Series 91. It's short and stubby, so it's kind of a cat tongue, very short and stubby cat tongue. And I have a few of those in red, which I've already shown you, which I use all the time, but I wouldn't mind getting a full series of this, which comes from England and it's in pounds. So I would have to purchase it, send it to my mother-in-law, have her repackage it and send it over here, because the fee, the cost for shipping to send from England to here is just insane. So I wouldn't do that. I would ask my mother-in-law to send something, but she just sent me this box. So my Christmas send me things has kind of come and gone. And honestly, do I really need more brushes? That is a good question. Do I need more brushes? Well, yes I do. I should get more of these because that would be a lot of fun. I would like that. These are not going to fit. They have to go back on the shelf, which is fine. That's where they were before. These are also not going to fit. But that one stays out on my desk. This one can go over here on top. These ones, maybe I'll just put them right on the bottom. What do you guys think? Put this down first. Then we can put my giant round. This is size 6 huge round. That can go down there. The hog brush, which is still losing hairs. It's not so good. Can go here. This is a fan brush, size 5. We're going to leave that out. I have more fan brushes somewhere. It's weird. When you look at the brushes like this, like I know there are others because I can definitely recall them. And then my Rosemary & Co. I'll leave on top because I still need to do a review of that. These guys I'm going to put into this box. Probably never to be seen again. Except I will take out the little eradicator because that's kind of cool. And yeah, okay, we'll just put them away. Don't need them for a while. I'm going to add this eradicator into here next to the other one. A few minutes ago I talked about the Aniki brushes. These are also Aniki brushes. These are dagger brushes that are smaller. They're really good for painting leaves or flower petals and such. This is a teeny tiny little fan brush, but again, notice how beautifully fat the handle is, so you have really good control. So these are also these like specialty brushes. They are triangle. The base is triangle, so they don't roll away on you, which is cool. And they're nice and thick, so you can get the super fine lines without having to hold really small brushes, because not everybody wants to hold small brushes, especially if you have arthritis in your hands or fibromyalgia or anything like that, or even, you know, general pain, aches and pains from seasonal stuff. Because it's raining, you don't want to hold a tiny brush. It's really hard. So these are really good. This is 5, 0, 2, 0, and 0. These are my travel brushes. There's one for mixing. It's a short stubby. And then let me just see if I can get one out. They are so awesome and beautiful. I think they are from, I gotta think about that for a while. I'm not sure. This is size 10. It is a Kolinsky Sable, and at the moment I'm not sure who made it, because I've had them for quite some time. So they just come apart. Where's my paper? There we go. They come apart like this, and then you want to ever so carefully put it back in. It does have a hole at the end, so it will let moisture out. Yeah, and I keep them in here. And this is just one set. I have 2 sets of these. And I seem to have lost another brush case. I know I have one more brush case. It's got to be in one of my really big boxes. There are 5 large wooden boxes. They're all a foot tall and a foot and a half wide. I know you guys have seen those before. And I think some of these are in there. This one sitting on the side, if you guys have just noticed or if you've seen it at all, this is not a brush. It looks like a brush. Again, let's put the paper back so you can see what I'm talking about. It looks like a brush, but it's not. This is for splattering. And I have a few things for splattering. So this is the splattering brush where you dip it in and then splatter it. And I also have the tray where you can blow on it or tap the stuff on there. So I will be showing this in a tutorial because this is really fun to use. I've had it for a long, long time and it's been on my list of things I need to turn into tutorials for you guys. I just have never gotten around to it, obviously. Yeah, so this is my travel kit. If you guys are interested in that, I have a full review and full tutorial as to what's in here, how I set it up. That is my crazy brush craziness. That's what that is. Okay. Then I want to put this one on top. No, this one goes into my travel kit, my big travel basket for doing large, I'm going to the beach or something. This has the red brushes, they go back on the shelf. This one now has the Zen brushes, that goes back on the shelf. And then this is where I got a few more of them. Okay, so that's that. That box can go back on the shelf. And there we go. So my brushes fit in here. Obviously not all of them. This is what looks like a toothbrush. It is not a toothbrush. It is actually a brush specifically designed to use for throwing paint. So it would be the same thing as this or as the screen. But again, when I get around to doing the spattering, then we'll talk about this too. And it also came from an art store. It's very old. You clearly don't need, I mean, the handle's very old. The end is in perfect condition, but the handle is terribly old. So there's that too. And just we'll throw that in there as well. I mean, the top part is not looking very fantastic, but that's okay. And actually these should go here. Okay, so all of my brushes are in their brush home. Yes! How exciting. That was an hour and 3 minutes. That took a long time. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found this interesting. Well, I don't know if you'd find it very helpful, but I hope you found it interesting. And yeah, if you have any questions about anything specific, please put a note, a comment down below, and write the time in which I mentioned the brush, the exact moment I mentioned the brush, so that I can go back and reference and figure out what it is, and then I can write you about that brush, or I can find any more information you might want on the brush. Thanks for watching. I'm Scarlett, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Toodaloo, guys.